Friends, I am Dr. Sujit Ghosh. Welcome to my channel, Dr. Ghosh Presents. Myself, Dr. Sujit Ghosh, from channel Dr. Ghosh Presents. You know, I am doing for last more than 1 year videos on homeopathy. There are 4 different playlists. Homeopathic therapeutics in Bangla, homeopathic therapeutics in English, homeopathic remedy picture in Bangla, homeopathic remedy picture in English. Now actually what I want to say is that you will get about 12 to 1300 videos on this subject. Signs, symptoms and uses of Homeo-Remedy Mercurius. Full name Mercurius or Mercurius solibulis. Short name Mercurius Merc Sol Merc Vivus. We'll use throughout the video this name Merc Sol. This name we'll use Merc Sol. Common name Quicksilver. This is the picture of Quicksilver. Right hand below, left hand bottom side. Source element, chemical world. Pathogenesis of Merc Sol. Lesions produced by Merc Sol are very similar to those of syphilis. It decomposes blood, producing deep anemia, sero-sanguinous discharges, slimy in consistency. It also produces ulcerations of mouth and throat and falling of hair from head. Inflammation produced by it causes induration, and induration finally causes ulceration. Constitution of Merc Sol. Body type. Best adapted to person with light hair, lax skin, lax muscles or jaundiced skin. Temperament nervous with hurried speech. Hot and cold, popularly known as human barometer. It is affected by extremes of heat or cold. Few call it to be ambithermal. Miasms, king of anti-syphilitic remedies. General mental journals of Merc Sol. Violent, horrid, impulsive, homicidal, suspicious and suicidal. Restless, nervous, tired of life, loss of willpower, precocious, slow and sluggish in answering questions for fear of losing reasons. Great apprehension, deference to everything, do not even care to eat. Suicidal thought during menses, better feeling from weeping. Memory weak, forgets everything. Think time passes slowly. Fear with desire to escape, wary of life. Uncontrollable desire to travel far away. Physical journals of Merc Sol. Groaning and moaning, changes place constantly. Does foolish, mischievous, disgusting actions. Filthy in body and mind, stammering with tremors, strictures with inflammation, oily perspiration, violent horrid impulses, convulsions, cataleptic rigidity of body, indurations, painful exostosis. Exostosis means actually growth in the bone growth, abnormal bone growth, softening of bone, syphilis, psychosis, scrofula, paralysis, agitans, paraplegia. Notice syphilis, syphilis, psychosis, both are homeopathic basic principles. Syphilis, psychosis, there are 3 basic miasm, syphilis, psychosis and sora. Of these 2 are covered by this particular Milton journals, the Merc Sol. Scrofula actually mixed form. Scrofula is either sora syphilis or sora psychosis. Actually it is a form of tuberculosis. Paralysis agitans. Paralysis agitans, a PA is written here. Actually this is a disease called Parkinson's disease. This is the person who is suffering from Parkinson's. It's a very particular movement. Look the particular things. Blank facial expression. The facial expression is blank. Forward tilt to posture. The person is slightly forwarded, tilt forwarded. Slow, monotonous, slurred speech. reduced arm movement. This arms swinging, when we walk, our arms are swing, our arms swing. This person's arm swing less. Rigidity and tremor of extremities and hand and extremities. Extremities means legs and hand. There are tremor and rigidity. This is Parkinson's disease. This is one of the very incurable type of disease with central nervous system. Mind this, Merc salt is a good medicine for this particular disease. If you continue treatment for about 1 year or maybe more than 1 or 2 years also, a person suffering from Parkinson may be completely free from this disease. Mind it, it's a challenging medicine. Mercurius salt is a challenging medicine. Burning pains, trembling, twitching, disorderly motions of paralyzed parts, sensitive to both cold and heat. The particular patient of Merc salt, he or she is sensitive to both heat and cold. They cannot tolerate extremes of heat and cold. One thing I have missed, after paralysis there is a term paraplegia. Paraplegia means, see, I have seen here 3 figures. This is P, means paraplegia. Here the vertical half portion of the body is paralyzed. This is hemiplegia. The lower half portion is paralyzed. Q means actually quadriplegia. This paraplegia, it is quadriplegia. The whole lower portion, when from below throat, the whole lower portion, both sides is under paralysis. This is called quadriplegia. Quadriplegia, paraplegia, hemiplegia. Paraplegia, right or left. Hemiplegia, either lower or upper half, either lower half or other upper half. Here, both the lower portion of the body. Quadriplegia. Physical journals of Merc salt continuing. Manifestations of hereditary syphilis, bully, abscess, marasmus, destructive inflammation of bones and cellular tissue. These are called bully. These are actually hereditary syphilis symptoms. The feet, the feet, the skin of the feet is studded with destructive ulcerations. The same would be also hand. And this is cellular tissue destruction. Secretion free, thin, slimy, acrid, burning, foul or thick greenish. Ulcerations of mucous membrane, especially of throat, mouth. Lymphatic glands enlarged, glandular activity, especially of salivary and mucous gland increases. Suppuration, spas, bloody, thin, greenish. Offensiveness of brain, bloody and secretions. Swelling edematous, continued exudations, redness, livid congestions. Livid means bluish, congestion with bluish skin. Body tremulous, weak, sweaty. Bad effects of fright. Suppressed gonorrhea, foot sweat. Modalities of Merc salt. Worse, night air, sweating, lying on right side, drafts to head, weather changing, cloudy, damp, cold, heat and cold, wet feet, before stool, during and after urination, touching anything cold. Better, moderate temperature, caution and rest. Head symptoms of Merc salt: vertigo lying on back, as if on a swing. The person feels that he or she is as if on a swing. Band feeling about the head, headache with earache and toothache. Exostosis. This is the exostosis, bony growth. You might have shown this is calcaneal spar. In the heel, you might have heard this particular term. Doctor says I have suffering from calcaneum spar. That is calcaneum bone. There is extra growth, and that extra growth leads to severe pain in the heel. This is exostosis with feeling of soreness. There is soreness. Meningitis, hydrocephalus. Meningitis is meningitis. Meninges are the covering over central nervous system, brain and spinal cord. The brain and the spinal cord down is covered by 3 layers. These are called dura mater, arachnoid mater, pia mater. These are called meninges. When these are inflamed, this is called meningitis, a fatal disease, A lot of babies, very young children, used to die in every year from meningitis. Hydrocephalus. Hydrocephalus is accumulation of excess central CSF, that is cerebrospinal fluid, in the ventricles of brain. In the ventricles of brain, if it is a baby, then his head is large. This is the face of a hydrocephalus baby. Hydrocephalus. Excess accumulation of excess CSF, cerebrospinal fluid, in the ventricle of brain. And if the particular affected person is baby, then it is clear, it will be clear from his head, because he is in a child stage or baby stage, so his head is increased and is looking something abnormal, and his eyes are called sunsetting. Sunsetting means his eyes are going downwards. The eyes are going downwards. This symptom is called sunsetting. Meningitis hydrocephalus, child turns head from side to side and moan. Child turns head from side to side. This is a signal of meningitis. The patient is feeling severe pain in the head. External head painful to touch. Cephalohematoma. Cephalohematoma, this is the accumulation of blood between skull and the covering of the skin over skull. This is covering of the skin. This is scalp. SCLP, scalp, and this is skull. Within this accumulation of blood, cephalohematoma. Not much difficult. It will be absorbed gradually. This is not much difficult. Not like meningitis hydrocephalus. These are serious diseases. Falling of hairs from sides and temple. Here you will see the symptoms of meningitis: fever, stiff neck, headache, confusion, increased sensitivity to light, nausea and vomiting. Eye symptoms of Marksall: lids red, thick, swollen, tarsi scarfy and swollen, burning in eyes with profuse acrid lacrimation, eyes as if drawn together, black spots, flames, sparks before eyes, photophobia of foundrymen. Foundry, foundry is actually furnace where metals are molded. Various types of things are prepared with molded metals, molten metals. This is called foundry. The person working in this foundry are called foundrymen. They suffer from photophobia due to constant working in this high temperature zone. Worse from heat, glare of fire. This particular foundryman used to suffer from this, always heat and glare of fire. Optic nerve and eye affections of those who work in foundries also. That is, this particular disease is a friend of foundrymen. Is a friend. There are various troubles they used to suffer, this foundryman, and Marksall is a good friend of them. Acute senilis. Acute senilis is, this is the acute senilis. A cloud rim is formed around the iris. This is called arcus senilis. Arcus, not acute. Arcus senilis. This is a picture of arcus senilis. This is iris. Around this iris, or you can call also this is the top covering of the eye. Arcus senilis. Iritis. Hypopian. This is hypopian. Hypopian means accumulation of fluid, particularly pus, RBCs. These are called inflammatory fluids in the first chamber of the eye. In the forward chamber, the eye has got two chambers: backward chamber, forward chamber. Within the chamber, the lens lies. The forward chamber, when it is accumulated fluid, some inflammatory fluid like pus, RBC, WBC are accumulated, is called hypopian. This is hypopian. Keratitis, inflammation of cornea. This is cornea. Cornea and iris almost the same thing. Iris is lying behind, cornea in the front. That is, eye has got various layers. Top layer is cornea, and second layer iris. Keratitis, inflammation of cornea. Conjunctivitis from cold. Conjunctivitis, you know, this is conjunctivitis. This is conjunctiva, red conjunctiva. Conjunctivitis. In this eye, there is no conjunctivitis. Eye is normal eye. Lids spasmodically closed. Periodical loss of sight. Foggy vision. Vision becomes foggy. Ear symptoms of Mark swell. From teeth, throat, etc. The pain extends to ear. Otorrhea thick. Yellow discharge, fetid, bloody. Deafness on becoming heated, better from swallowing or blowing nose. Boils in external canals of ear, as if cold water running from the ear. Sensation of coldness in ears during pregnancy. Nose symptoms of Mark swell. Much sneezing and sneezing in sunshine. Sneezing in sunshine, note. Nostrils raw, ulcerated, cold travels upward, attack eyes. From nose, the eyes are attacked. Coryza acrid, purulent, too thick to run. Raw, red, dirty nosebleed. Nose bleeds when coughing. During sleep, blood hangs in dark coagulated string. During sleep, blood hangs in dark coagulated string. Usually seen with children. Frequent sneezing without coryza. Sinusitis. Sinusitis, you know, there are sinuses in our skull bone. These are the picture of sinuses. Frontal sinus, thus lying above our eyebrow. Frontal sinus. Then ethmoidal sinus. This is lying deep in the brain. Maxillary sinus. This is maxillary sinus, just on the chin. Just on the chin, maxillary sinus. And finally, phrenoidal sinus, also in the brain. Phrenoidal and ethmoidal, you cannot feel it. It is lying within the brain, bony structure of the skull. But frontal sinus above the eyebrow and maxillary sinus in front of chins are superficially filled, and we can feel this with our hand when these are inflamed. This is called sinusitis. Face symptoms of Mark swell. Pale, yellow, dirty looking. Puffy under eyes, cheeks swollen, red hot. Aching in cheeks, jaws, mumps. Masseter contracted. Masseter is a muscle. This is the masseter muscle. It helps in chewing and movement of this mandible. Movement of mandible and chewing helps masseter muscles. That masseter is contracted. If masseter is contracted, there will be pain in the mandible region. Facial paralysis from cold. Lips salty, dry, cracked in angles. This is the important symptom. Cracked in the angles of lip. Mark swell. Burn when touched. Mouth symptoms of Mark swell. Offensive putrid odor from mouth. Painful, ragged, swollen, bleeding gums or gum boil. Teeth hollow, black. Pain worse from heat and cold night. Feel tender and elongated. Saliva increased, flows during sleep. Yellow, bloody, bad tasting, offensive. Tongue broad, flabby, yellow, indented. Needle prick at the tip. Sensation of needle prick at the tip. Furrows across upper portion of the tongue with pricking sensation. Sweetish, metallic taste. Speech difficult from trembling of tongue. Loss of speech. Replies with signs of and grimaces. Sometimes it happens. There is complete loss of speech and the patient tries to reply your questions with signs and grimaces. Stammering. Tonsils enlarged. See the tonsils figure. These are tonsils, enlarged tonsils. No, this is tonsils enlarged. These tonsils enlarged, this is something more than tonsillitis. It is called quinsy. We are coming to it. Stammering, tonsil enlarged, ulcers behind tongue. Throat symptoms of Mark swell. Raw, sore, smarting, burning as if hot vapor ascending in the throat. Ulcer on tonsils and pharynx. Quinsy. This is quinsy. Quinsy means abscess formation on the swollen tonsil. The tonsil is already swollen and inflamed. On that inflamed tonsil, boils appear. That is called quinsy. Very, very painful disease with difficult swallowing after pus has formed. That is when pus is formed in the quinsy, then Mark swell will help. Not before pus formed. Then some other medicine will come, maybe belladonna, etc. has formed. Stitches into ears on swallowing. hawks large lumps from throat, constant tendency to swallow, drinks return through nose, drinks the patient take drinks, but that drinks return through his or her nose. This is Marksall symptom. Stomach symptoms of Marksall: intense thirst for cold drinks and beer, weak digestion with continuous hunger, feel replete and constricted, aversion to meat, coffee, butter and oily things, sweet things and milk disagree, but though they crave this thing, but these are not agreeable to his stomach. Rancid irritation, frequent hiccup, heartburn. Abdomen symptoms Marksall: liver enlarged, sore, indurated, jaundice. Liver enlarged, sore, indurated. Indurated means hard, change, not the soft consistency of liver is there, it is hard. This is actually the stage of further deterioration of liver. Liver is deteriorated first. The first liver is formed to is called cirrhosis, then it got cancer. These are the final stages: liver, slight inflammation, then cirrhosis, then cancer. Intestine feel bruised when lying on right side. Inguinal gland swollen, suppurating, taking cold. Stools painful, scanty, bloody, greenish, slimy, ashen white, acrid, with tenesmus and chill. Never get done feeling. Prolapse any after stool. Tenesmus of rectum and bladder. Tenesmus both in rectum, bladder. Dysentery, external abdomen cold to touch. Urinary symptoms Marksall: frequent urging day and night with copious and scanty urine. Urine more than drinks. Urine causes itching. Urine black, bloody, burning after urination. Stream very weak. Dysuria, painful urination. Painless hematuria. Note the thing: painful urination, painless hematuria. Hematuria means bleeding with urine. Blood passes through urine. Male symptom from Marksall. Male symptom, not male genital symptoms. Glands and prepuce inflamed and swollen. Phimosis. Phimosis is when the skin of the lying over this penis is thick when it is in front of glands. You cannot retract the skin from glands penis to backward. That is phimosis. Paraphimosis is just opposite things. When the skin is retracted behind, you cannot get it front. Scrotum red, testicles swollen, hard, shiny, itching, lead them to scratch the genitals. Vesicles, ulcers, soft chancres, bloody emissions, gonorrhea, herpes prepulis. Herpes prepulis means the prepuce means the foreskin of the penis. In that foreskin there is herpes, skin disease. Very troublesome disease. There is severe itching, burning, there will be. Female genital symptom Marksall: collapse and fainting at start of mens. Profuse menses with rawness of genitals. Leukorrhea, thick white when urinating, better from coition. Leukorrhea, better from coition. Itching worse when urinating, better when washing with cold water. Prolapse of uterus with vagina. Vaginal prolapse, uterus prolapse, better from coition. Mammy painful, full of milk at mens. During menses, mammy full of milk. Sterility with two profuse menses. Stinging pain in ovary. Pain blows right mammy radiating to scapula. Tendency to abortion from sheer weakness. From sheer weakness, tendency to abortion. Abscess appear anywhere on the body during menses and disappears after menses. Leukorrhea in small girls causing prostration, itching of vulva. Milk in breast of boys and in girls instead of menses. That is, instead of menses in girls, milk in breast. Boys, directly milk in breast. Cancer of mammy and uterus. This is cancer of mammy and this is cancer of endometrial cancer, that is uterine cancer. Both cancer can be treated with Marksall. Respiratory symptoms of Marksall: hoarse, rough voice, cough in double bouts, that is cough in two bouts, dry at night, yellow green sputum by day, respiration difficult, lying on left side but cough more lying on right side. Stitches from lower right chest to back, through worse from sneezing and cough. Sensation of bubbles in the chest, cough worse from smoking. Epistaxis, bleeding from nose during whooping cough. Jaundice in pneumonia. Jaundice with pneumonia, mark Sol. Epistaxis with whooping cough, mark Sol. Asthma better from tobacco smoke and cold air. Neck and back symptoms, mark Sol. Neck stiff, cervical glands enlarged, tearing pain in coccyx. Coccyx, coccyx lying at the lower end of our spinal column. Worse pressing on abdomen. Heart symptoms of mark Sol. Palpitation on slight exertion. Awake with cardiac tremor. Pulse irregular, quick, strong and intermittent, or soft and trembling. Intermittent means the pulse is missing. Say 1, 2, 3, 4 is missing. 1, 2, 3, 4 is missing. This is pulse missing, intermittent. Extremity symptom of mark Sol. Weakness and trembling of the limb, especially of hands, fingers numb, cold sweat in feet in AM. AM means night 12 to morning 12. Phlegmasia alba dolens is a serious disease. It is also named white leg, milk leg. It is seen particularly in ladies while in parturition or in pregnancy condition. What happens then? One of the legs becomes edematous, painful and white compared to the other. It is due to occlusion of deep iliofemoral vein, that is deep vein thrombosis. From deep vein thrombosis this comes. This is called phlegmasia alba dolens. If it is not checked, it will go further and then this white leg will be almost turned into brown or black. Then the whole leg is gone. Serious disease. That is also named phlegmasia cerula dolens, that is called. Dropsical swelling of feet and leg. This is the symptom. Dropsical swelling. Actually, phlegmasia alba dolens, this is the symptoms. Phlegmasia swelling, feet, leg, bone pains, worse at night, must get up and walk about. Skin symptoms, mark Sol. General tendency to free perspiration, but patient is not relieved thereby. Skin always moist, yellow, tender, excoriated like raw meat. Moist, crusty eruptions, ulcers, irregular spreading, shallow bleeding. Pimples around men's eruptions. Boil and eruptions form at the time of menses. Itching at night in bed, moist eczema. Sleep symptoms, mark Sol. Sleepless at night. From ebullition of blood, chest, head. Ebullition means movement, extra congestion of blood in the chest and head, and thereby causing sleeplessness. From nervous excitability, from pain or other troubles. So many reasons for sleepless nights. Fever symptoms of mark Sol. Easily chilled or overheated. Alternate chill and heat. Creeping chills. Catarrhal gastric fevers. Catarrhal, gastric, bilious. Catarrhal fever, gastric fever, bilious fever. Actually 3 fevers are conjointly here. Measles, fever after suppressions. Fevers after suppression. So there is some suppression of skin disease, fever comes. There is a suppression of coryza, fever comes. Mark Sol is the medicine. Always mark Sol is the medicine. Easy profuse sweat without relief during sleep, with pain, sweat oily, foul, shower, with strong sweetish penetrating odor, sweat on head, on chest, stains indelibly yellow. That is, sweat stains your garments indelibly yellow. Sweat symptom is varied with mark Sol. Complementary medicine, belladonna, silicea. Related medicine, caliod. With this, the video ends. Thanks for listening and viewing. Mind this, if you can read mark Sol nicely or fully, then I think 20% of materia medica is within your grasp. Such a medicine is mark Sol.